an honor for Virginia, and it's a pleasure for me. I'd like to thank Joy for the help that she gave in setting up the exhibits, for Bonnie Finch for helping, and for Carolyn Schunover. Now you may be wondering why I am standing here. My name is Bill Tricarton, and my wife, Maureen, passed away about 2 years ago. And shortly thereafter, I got a phone call. And it was a very pleasant female voice saying, "How are you doing?" And it was Virginia. And I told her I was getting along, and we chatted for a while. And then we didn't make any more phone calls. But almost a year ago, Virginia lost her husband, Bob. And I called her. And she answered, and I said, "How are you doing?" And she said, "I'm doing okay, but I'll get by." And that led to us spending the rest of our time holding hands and supporting each other, which we do to this day. Now, "11 days ago, Virginia had a very unfortunate accident, a severe stroke, and it occurred on the 3rd floor in Building 3, right after we got off the elevator. And she started slurring her speech and lost her balance and was very dizzy. We got her in bed and immediately called 911. They responded, and she had had the stroke at about 2 o'clock. And by 2:30, she was in the emergency room. And by 3 o'clock, they were administering the very high protein medication that is an extremely effective blood thinner, but it must be delivered within the first 4.5 hours, which she got it after 2 hours. Now let me jump ahead a little bit. Before that stroke happened, Virginia had moved from Shoreline to Building 3. And that was a big, big downsize. And she was struggling what to do with these art pieces that she had. Because Building 3 doesn't have nearly as much wall space as Shoreline. So she had no place to put all of her artwork. And she was thinking about donating it to the thrift shop when she got this brilliant idea that we were looking for donations to both the Christmas fund for the employees and the educational fund for the employees. Come on in. Here's some seats.
Hide all the way down.
You must be Catholic. So she decided at that point, why don't I have an art show and donate all the proceeds that come out of it to the Employee Educational Fund. That's why you see prices on all the exhibits, and whatever comes in will go out to the Educational Fund. Now, I know in the brochure that, or the flyer that went out describing the art show, it was stated that Virginia was going to discuss her approach to art and what it meant to her and how she proceeded. Unfortunately, she can't do that today. But let me give you a incident that happened just last April when we were on a cruise to Nassau. And we were going around and going through a garden, and I it to her. I said, look at that plant, isn't that beautiful? And she said, how do you know it's beautiful? I said, it looks beautiful to me. She said, you have to look at the whole plant. And she proceeded to walk 360 degrees around that plant. And she said, this plant is a gift from God, and you have to treat it that way. She ended up taking a photograph of that plant, just the leaves, and it is absolutely perfect. I'm sorry it's not here, but there is an example of it, where the leaves in the forefront are in sharp, sharp focus. But the leaves behind it, on the other side of the bush, are also in focus. And she maneuvered her position to capture that. And I said, how'd you do that? She said, it's God's gift. You have to treat it that way. And her approach to art, all forms of art, is she is in love with it. Absolutely in love with it. She has practiced in, I've lost count how many mediums, it's at least 5. And you see some examples of them here. Paintings behind me, photographs, quilts, needlepoint. She's excelled in every one of them. And she's in love with it. Now, when she went to the emergency,
I don't know.
they treated her very, very well, and she was in the hospital 5 days. Then she was moved out to Compass Rehabilitation Center out in Bluffton on 170. Absolutely immaculate facility. You could eat off the floor. And we had no idea what was in store for her. The stroke stole her voice, her ability to speak. Everything else was fine, no paralysis whatsoever. So we took her out to Encompass on Monday. And what do you think's going to happen? She's coming home Monday. And she's going to stay here and be an outpatient at Broad Creek. We have no idea how long it'll take for her to get complete use of her voice in pronunciation and sentence structure, but we're working on it, and we will work on it. So what you see behind me is some of her work. She's got some of it up on her walls in Building 3, but she has a price on them, and I appreciate you all taking the time to look at these, to evaluate them. And in the back of the room, the beautiful woman in the green shirt is Virginia's daughter. She graduated of Notre Dame, and she is willing and able to speak to any and all of you about what her mother appreciated and how she approached art. So thank you again very, very much for being here, and enjoy. I think they have some champagne for everybody. We always do it at opening, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
We don't usually record these, but we're doing it so that Virginia can see it.
Well, I forgot to point out to you.
Yes.
This photograph right here is a perfect example of what I was describing about getting the whole picture